Welcome again, friends. See more about creepy crawlies. All the creepy crawlies consist of all the animals that don't belong to the other sections. All creepy crawlies are invertebrates. See this: black housefly, lacewing, spider wasp, hornet, common housefly, cave spider, speckled bush cricket, red giraffe weevil, flea, tachinid fly, locust, dragonfly, cardinal beetle, caterpillar, spiny bed of Weber spider, land snail, common octopus, krill, squid, cuttlefish, starfish, blue morpho, Queen Alexandra's birdwing, large yellow underwing and golden emperor. These are the spineless creatures. Invertebrates include all the different insects plus other small land animals such as spiders and snails and extraordinary looking sea creatures. These are the creepy crawlies. The world of insects. A huge majority of creepy crawlies are insects. In fact, there are more types of insect in the world than any other animal. They are absolutely everywhere. Some are almost too small to see and others are surprisingly large. They are nature's recyclers. Give service to recycle. Although many people dislike insects and they can be pests, they are also essential to our world. In fact, we could not live without them. For instance, these dung beetles do a very good job cleaning up dung. What is an insect? You can tell if a creepy crawly is an insect because insects always have 6 legs. They also have 3 body parts: a head, a thorax and an abdomen. Useful insects. Here some other ways that insects are useful to us. Red food dye. This food coloring is made from the bodies of scale insects. Silk. Believe it or not, the silk you wear is made by silk moth caterpillars. Honey. If there were no bees in the world, we would have no honey. Food. To some people, such as the Australian Aborigines, grubs are a meal. We know that insects were around 40 million years ago because some were trapped in a tree resin called amber, which hardened back then and preserved them. Sometimes insects such as aphids eat huge amounts of our crops. The best way to get rid of them is to introduce another insect that likes to eat them. Ladybirds are often used for aphid pest control. The one thing insects are very good at it is making more insects. They all start off as eggs, then grow up in lots of strange and different ways. Metamorphosis. When they are born, many insects look like nothing their parents. They have to go through 3 stages: egg, larva and pupa. Before they become adults, this process is called metamorphosis. The stage first and 2, egg and larva. The butterfly lays her eggs and they hatch into larvae. The larva of a butterfly is called as caterpillar. It eats and eats its way through leaves until it gets fat. In the stage 3, pupa. When the caterpillar is big enough, it sheds like its skin, fastens itself to a plant stem, and creates a pupa, a hard shell around itself. In the stage 4, inside the pupa, an amazing changes takes place. Eventually, it splits open and the adult butterfly emerges. There are small changes. Some insects are born only a little different to their parents. With dragonflies, the main difference is that their babies live completely underwater. As they grow, they develop lungs so they can breathe air and wings so they can fly. Like butterflies, ladybirds go through metamorphosis. There are the eggs. The female lays a group of eggs on a leaf. Larva. There are the eggs hatch out into larvae called nymphs. Pupa. A month after hatching, each larva builds itself a pupa. Young ladybird. A week later, a yellow adult emerges. Adult. After a while, the yellow color turns to red with black spots. There is a parental care. Most insects abandon their eggs after they have laid them. These shield bugs look after their babies very protectively, but this is rare. On the move, insects are very good at getting from A to B. Some run, others fly, some jump, and a few even swim. All flying insects have two pairs of wings, but they use them in different ways. Beetles fly with one pair and the second, harder pair hold over the top to protect them. Here are some more ways insects use their wings. Many are very good air acrobats. Common flies only use one pair of wings. The other pair look like sticks. The dragonfly uses both pairs but can operate each side separately. Lacewing. This insect can use four wings separately and can fly backwards. Hoverfly. The hoverfly beats its wings so fast you can barely see them. Some insects spend much of their time underwater, using their legs like paddles. Diving beetles have special hairs on their legs that splay out in the water and help them swim. Caterpillars can loop up steep twigs. Some insects can jump huge distances by using their back legs as powerful springs. If a grasshopper is disturbed, its caterpillars like legs help it to get away. Insects' legs reflect where they live. Beetles that live under bark have short legs that don't get in the way. Darkling beetles have long legs that let them race across hot sand in the desert. Locusts can jump up to a meter 3 feet high. A tiny flea can jump 100 times its own length. It can also jump 600 times per hour non-stop for 3 days while looking for an animal to settle on. The caterpillars have suckers at either end of their bodies to hold on to and loop up twigs. Crepicollis and their eating habits. The insects eat a wide range of foods. Some are meat eaters and some are vegetarians. but most spend their waking life eating. Insects have mouth parts for either biting and chewing or perching and sucking. Many meat eaters eat other insects and have to find cunning ways to catch their meals. This praying mantis hides among leaves, then strikes. Most insects are vegetarians and munch or sip constantly during their lives. Some like to bite and chew food like leaves, others suck liquid such as flower, nectar through their tongues. The Antlion larva buries itself underground with its open mouth facing the sky and simply waits. When an ant runs over the hole, it falls straight into the Antlion's jaws and is eaten swiftly. Treacherous teeth. Caterpillars are typically vegetarian, biters and chewers. They have strong jaws that can get through tough leaves. It is thought that insects eat about 5% of all leaves in the world. A butterfly lays her eggs on a leaf. That will be the caterpillar's first meal. So it doesn't have to travel very far to find food. The butterfly has a long tongue called a proboscis, which it uses to sip liquids. The flambeau butterfly has very strange taste in food. It likes to sip alligator's tears. What a brave insect! This weevil has drilled a hole in an acorn. Acorn eater. The acorn weevil is a fussy eater. It only likes acorns. It pierces the nuts with its long snout, chomps away inside with the jaws at the end, then sucks up the chewed food. Caterpillars take a long time to digest food. They have to eat all the time until they pupate. Hens of creepy crawlies. Many insects make delicious meals for other animals. So it is very important indeed that they have some defense against the enemy. A good way for insects to disappear is to hide amongst plants. The white orchid mantis is hiding in plants that are the same colors as it is. Can you see it? Camouflage. Lost among leaves. The katydid, a kind of bush cricket, looks so much like a leaf that it even has veins on its back. All it has to do is keep very still. Brightly colored insects are often poisonous or taste really nasty. The ladybird bleeds bitter tasting blood from its knees when disturbed. Swallowtail caterpillars have the ultimate in copycat defense. They look just like bird droppings. No animal is likely to want to take a bite out of them. I am not eating that. When the owl butterfly closes its wings, its spots look like airy owl eyes instead of the markings on a tasty little butterfly. Owl eyes. The copycat. Many insects pretend they are different creatures to avoid being eaten. Can you tell which is the wasp and which is the hoverfly? Pests and plagues. Insects are small but they can do a huge amount of damage. It may be hard to believe, but these are some of the dangerous creatures alive. Humans have a hard time controlling pests for thousands of years. We have been trying to find ways to get rid of them. Colorado beetle. This little beetle can destroy whole potato fields. Common clothes moth. These moths love to eat woolen clothes. Longhorn beetle. These beetles can destroy entire forest of trees. Once cockroaches move into your home, they are very difficult to get rid of. They eat rotten food and spread diseases around the house. They also make a house smell. Head lice. The head louse is a tiny insect that grabs onto your hair so tightly that it is tricky to remove. It drinks blood from your head and makes your scalp itchy. Its eggs are called nits. Cockroaches have tough bodies and are very difficult to kill. When the rains fall in Africa, millions of locusts sometimes gather together and move in huge groups. It swarms. They eat everything in sight, and there are so many of them that they blot out the sunlight. The tsetse fly is a bloodsucker. It pierces the skin of humans and other animals and sucks their blood. Here you can see the fly with an empty and a full tummy. It spreads a disease called sleeping sickness. If a mosquito sucks blood from a sick person, it will pass the illness on to the next person it bites. Only female mosquitoes drink your blood. Male mosquitoes drink nectar from flowers and juices from plants. Believe it or not, the mosquito has killed more people on earth than any other animal. When it bites, it spreads a dangerous disease called malaria. In the section Creepicollis, butterflies and moths. Butterflies and moths are unique insects because their wings are covered in tiny scales. They look alike, but there are a few slight differences. Which is which? Butterflies have club-shaped antennae or feelers, and moths tend to have feathery or plain antennae. Butterflies are also generally more colorful than moths, like purple emperor butterfly, red glider butterfly, 8-8 butterfly, banana eater butterfly, monarch butterfly, Madagascan moon moth, Arctide moth, Hertz Brahmia moth, brown brindled beauty moth. Both butterflies and moths have tiny scales on their bodies and wings that overlap like tiles on a roof. The monarchs are unusual butterflies. When the cold winter sets in, they undertake an incredible journey. They travel from Canada to the fine weather in California, USA, and Mexico, and can cover 130 kilometers in a day. Trees are often covered in monarch butterflies as they rest. Butterflies and moths hatch as caterpillars, which eat in a completely different way to the adults. Caterpillars have strong jaws which they use to chew leaves. When they become butterflies, their mouth parts are different. Instead, they have a long tongue or proboscis which they use to sip liquid. Antennae are used for smelling. Caterpillars make very tasty snacks for many other animals, so they have various cunning ways of stopping things from eating them. Puss moth caterpillar. It rears its colorful head when threatened. Swallowtail caterpillar. It disguises itself as a bird dropping. Postman caterpillar. It is covered in long spines. Butterflies keep their tongues rolled into a coil until they want to eat. Then they unroll it and use it like a straw. Creepy crawlies, beetles, and bugs. These tiny creatures can be found all over the world, from mountain top to scorching deserts. You can never escape beetles and bugs. Beetles are the most heavily armored of all insects. They have biting and chewing mouth parts. The African Goliath beetle is the biggest beetle in the world. The diving beetle uses its legs as paddles. Diving beetles live on land, but the diving beetle catches its food, tadpoles, and even small fish in the water. In order to breathe, it tucks a bubble of air under its wings before every dive. Beetles are often bright and beautiful colors. Scarab. This beautiful golden scarab is found in South America. Chafer beetle. These lovely beetles vary hugely in size and color. Weevil. This bright blue weevil is found in Papua New Guinea. Frog beetle. Frog beetles can be bright red and very shiny. Glowworms can sometimes be seen at night, glowing and flashing in their thousands. Glowworms are found all over the world. Members of the bug family look quite like beetles. You may think have a feeding bees and wasps simply buzz a lot and suck up their food, but they cannot bite some of the most intelligent insects around. They are small, but some can be quite aggressive. Bumble bees do not produce shield bug. It is known as a stink bug because it can let out honeybees live in large colonies. Corrid bug, working together as a group, waves the flags on its legs, spend much of their lives predators, gathering nectar from plants, which they turn into honey. This little creature is a pest. It attacks when a honeybee knows that a flower is full of nectar. It kills other insects. It does a special waggling dance to show out other worker bees where to go to collect it. Cicadas. Cicadas, a type of bug, is a miniature city of insects made of wax. They can be heard up produced by the bees in cell shapes away. They make their noise by vibrating honeycomb. Drum-like pads. Some cells hold the baby larvae of their and tummies. Some hold honey. Some cicado bee societies have 3 classes within their 17 years. Queen. Each bee colony has a queen who lays up to 100 eggs a day. Drone. There are only even a few drones male with the queens. Worker. All of the workers are female. They collect the nectar. The bee has special baskets on its legs to collect pollen in. Worker bees cannot lay eggs. Only the queen provides new babies. The queen begins building the nest. Then, when her first babies are big enough, they take over. Wasps and bees have yellow and black stripes that warn people they are poisonous. They only sting when they feel threatened or they are defending their home. When a new queen is born, she will live with a group of wasps to build and rule her own nest. The wasps all fly off together in a group called a swarm. In this picture, they are resting. Wasps either live alone, solitary wasps, or in large groups, social wasps. Those that live together build large nests made out of dead wood that they chew into paper. Wasps are many different families of most adults have a narrow vest between their second and third segments and large eyes. Many wasps do not live in groups but prefer to live alone. They are called solitary wasps. Creepy crawlies, ants and termites. There are more termites and ants on earth than any other insect species. There are millions of them. They live in groups called colonies. Termites live in tropical or hot areas. Each colony has a queen who is the chief and she has a king. Workers clean and feed and soldiers guards. In some species, the queen grows into a huge egg laying machine producing 30,000 eggs in a day. There are many different types of ants, one or more living in every corner of the world. These are leaf cutter ants, which collect leaves and turn them into food. Some termites live in huge mounds, which they build using earth, salvia, and their droppings, one piece on top of another like bricks. Some mounds can be up to 7 meters high. Some ants and aphids, a type of bug, are very good at keeping each other happy. The aphids give off a sweet liquid that the ants like to sip. So in return, the ants guard the aphids and protect their eggs for them. Honeypot ants live in the desert. The workers fill chosen ants with nectar, which they turn to honey and store in their big tummies. When food is short, they vomit it up and feed the colony with it. The honeypots are too big to move. Creepy crawlies, flies. There is no escaping them. Flies are all over the place. Lots of people hate them because many spread diseases and a lot of them bite. But flies have their uses and we couldn't live without them. Flies like rotting food, and as they have sticky feet, they can carry bacteria from one piece of food to another, which can carry nasty diseases. A fly vomits on food to turn it to liquid and then it sucks it up. Flies often lay their egg, which hatch into maggots in manure or rubbish. Unlike adults, maggots do not have wings and they chew their rotten meat rather than suck it up. They eventually turn into pupas. Then flies, just like caterpillars, turn into butterflies or moths. Flies are very good flyers, which is why they are difficult to swat. This hoover fly can beat its wings up to 1,000 times per second. Sometimes it changes direction too quickly that it seems to disappear. The housefly has sticky feet that allow it to walk up walls and across ceilings. It rubs its feet together to get dust and dirt off, which helps keep them sticky. If there were no flies in the world, there would be a lot more rotting food and dead animals around. Although we may think they are nasty, they actually do a very good job eating rubbish. The collection of fly. There are many species of fly and they come in all shapes and colors. Tachinid fly, crane fly, robber fly, and bee fly. Creepy crawlies, the world of non-insects. There are many creepy crawlies scuttling around our planets that are not insects. Some live on land, others live in fresh water or the sea. They come in all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes. Arachnids, spiders, scorpions, ticks, and mites belong to a land-dwelling family called arachnids. All arachnids have 8 legs and 2 body parts. Segmented worms like earthworms are simply animals that have a head at one end, a tail at the other, and lots of segmented body parts in between. They live on land or in water. The sea contains some very strange animals indeed. Here are a few: sponge, starfish, anemone, centipede, and millipedes. If you try counting the legs on an insect and you find there are too many, the chances are you have found a centipede or millipede. They have lots and lots of legs. Mollusks, slugs, snails, squids, and oysters are mollusks. Some live on land and some live in water. Crustaceans. Most crustaceans such as lobsters, crabs, and shrimps live in water. Only the wood louse lives on land. They often have a shell and their eyes are on stalks. Creepycrawlies, spiders and scorpions. Spiders and scorpions are the best known members of the arachnid family. They are two of the most feared creatures on earth, despite the fact that most are perfectly harmless to humans. There are about 40,000 species of spider in the world. They can all bite, but most are not dangerous to humans. The jumping spider spots a fly and leaps attached to a line of silk so quickly that fly doesn't have a chance to escape. Scorpions live in warm climates and feed on insects. They hold their prey with their big pinchers and paralyze it with the sting at the end of their tail, which they bend right over the back. A tick is also an arachnid. When it feeds, it attaches itself to an animal and bites the flesh. When it has drunk enough blood, it drops off. All spiders produce silk from their bottoms. Most weave nests or webs with it, while jumping spiders use it to anchor themselves to one object while they leap to another. Most spiders live on land, but a few, such as the water spider, live underwater. It traps air and makes a diving bell which it anchors to plants. Spider silk is also used to build nests or to attach eggs to the spider to carry around. The spider, however, holds the eggs in her jaws until they hatch. Creepycrawlies, strange land creatures. Apart from insects, there are many creepycrawlies that run around on land. Some are large, others small. Some have lots of legs and some no legs at all. One of the slowest movers on land is the snail. When it feels threatened, it doesn't have to rely on speed. It simply pulls itself inside its shell. Centipedes. The word centipedes means 100 feet, but actually centipedes have a lot fewer. Giant tiger centipedes are found in jungles. They eat spiders and insects, which they kill with poison. Woodlice may look like insects, but they are actually related to crabs and lobsters. They live in a dark, damp places to avoid drying up and eat rotten leaves and wood. Millipedes have lots of legs, sometimes as many as 300, but this does not mean they run fast. They have to move their legs in waves to stop them from eating each other. Earthworms are long, thin, snake-like creatures that live underground. They push their way through the soil, eating rotting plants and animals. Slugs are similar to snails, but they have no shell. They move by sliding over slime that they squeeze out through their foot. Sometimes they leave a shiny trail behind them. Creepycrawlies. Sea crustaceans. It's easy to see how these creatures got their name. They are covered in hard plates that act like a crust. Most crustaceans live in water. Crusty creatures, the lobster, like other crustaceans, has a hard skeleton on the outside of its body and two eyes on stalks, called antennae. Lobsters spend their time walking across the sea floor. The crabs. Crabs are armed with a pair of pincers that can nip very hard when they feel threatened. They live on the seashore as well as the seabed. Some crabs are as big as car tires. Crabs use their pincers to crack the shells of other animals and to pick up food. The crab's eyes are at the end of these stalks. Some shrimps get their food in a very unusual way by cleaning the mouths and scales of willing fish. They use their delicate pincers to pick out dead skin and tiny creatures. Barnacles. On many seashores, millions of barnacles cling to rocks. They start life as tiny larvae. When they settle on a rock, they fasten themselves to it, grow a hard case around themselves and stay there for life. Red crab alert. Easter Island in the Pacific Ocean has a community of about 100 million red crabs each year. At the same time, every single crab crosses the island to lay its eggs on the beach. What a traffic jam! Finding their home, hermit crabs have softer bodies than other crabs, so to protect themselves, they hunt for empty shells to live in. Often the crabs fight for a good shell. Creepy crawlies, sea mollusks. Sea mollusks come in many weird and wonderful shapes. Who would have thought that octopuses and scallops were related? Some live on land, others live in water. The relatives of octopus, squids and cuttlefish are the nearest relatives to octopuses. Blue-ringed octopus, cuttlefish and squid. Octopuses and squids have very large brains and are the most intelligent creatures in the creepy crawly section. All octopuses and squids have 8 arms, so they are called clever claws. Conches, wakes, and winkles are all sea snails. They have shells and can commonly be seen clinging to rocks. Most eat plants, but some eat other small sea creatures. Oysters, mussels, scallops, and clams all have a shell that is hinged into 2 parts that can open and close. They open them to suck food in and breathe, and keep them tightly shut to protect themselves. Strangely enough, some slugs live under water. Unlike land slugs, sea slugs are very beautiful. Like their cousins, they have no shell, nor protect themselves by being poisonous or well camouflaged like this lettuce slug. Limpets have cone-shaped shells that protect them. They cling to rocks and graze on algae, a type of plant, wandering around using their muscular foot. Queen scallops can move surprisingly quickly through the water. They clap the 2 parts of their shell together, and this movement propels them forwards. Creepy crawlies, brainless wonders. There are a lot of very strange sea creatures. Some don't even look like animals at all. The one thing all the animals on these pages have in common is that they have no brains. The coral reef, believe it or not, coral is an animal, or rather lots of tiny animals stuck together. The skeletons give coral its hard ridges, which provide a home for tiny animals called polyps. Sponges, they look like plants but are actually animals, even though they are attached to the ground. They are bright colors, often making the sea floor look like an underwater garden. Sea urchin, the spiky creature may look harmless, but you wouldn't want to step on one. Sea urchins are covered in sharp spines that protect their soft bodies. Most starfish have 5 arms that stick out from the center. They have some strange looking relations too. There are so many types like starfish, sunstar starfish, grey starfish, brittle star, sea cucumber. The mouth of a starfish is underneath its body. It uses its arms to crack open mussel shells, then eat up the creature inside. Jellyfish are strange sea creatures. They have no brain, no bones, no heart, and no eyes. They move through the water like big umbrellas, opening and closing to move along. Sea anemones look like pretty sea flowers, but they can give lethal stings to small animals. They use their poisonous tentacles to stun fish before they eat them. Creepy crawl is the world of microlife. Some creepy crawlies, whether insects or other tiny creatures, are so small that you can't see them unless you look through a microscope. They are everywhere, however, even in your eyelashes. They are unwelcome guests. Tiny animals like to share our body with us. Some are helpful guests, but others we would rather get rid of, like these headlouts. There are about 300 types of bacteria that live on your teeth. Although they are technically not animals, they are some of the smallest creatures alive. This is the tip of a needle, magnified many times, and the tiny orange specks are bacteria or germs. Some of them can make you ill, but most are friendly. The sea is full of microscopic creatures. They are called plankton, and there are in fact so many that the sea is like a big thick plankton soup. Many fish eat the plankton, and still there are plenty more. Thank you for watching.